Good day, good day, good day, and welcome. Before I start, if you haven't and you kind of like this video, go ahead and like and share, and I appreciate that. So I'm in court. If you're not aware, it is June 23, or well, it's June 24th, 2025. I've been in court, in family court now. I've been divorced, I don't know, since 2009, and my ex is an attorney and keeps taking me to court. Over petty little like money. He makes a lot of money. He makes very well into the six figures. Knowingly, I was let go a couple of years ago and out of funds. So I didn't hire an attorney, and thank God, because I am learning so much. See, I am a contracts expert, and I can say that I am an expert. I know some people are like, what's an expert? I've reviewed thousands of variety of contracts, large variety, material transfer agreements, manufacturing agreements, construction agreements, master service agreements. I mean, the list is long. So I know a little bit about contracts, and I'm not an attorney. I don't give legal advice, but this has been quite entertaining, quite emotional, and it's been a clearing of learning how to forgive and feeling anger and allowing that anger and allowing the resentment and the abandonment and the betrayal and the abuse that came from the previous, from the other party. And so it's been a real cleansing, but it's also gotten me into the family court system and the corruption that's going on there, the apparent and obvious corruption that's going on there, and the need for us to really get in there as mankind and clean this stuff up, really start holding the attorneys that are doing this and the judges accountable so that we can restructure that. I actually have it in several of my filings, quite a few actually. I even wrote the Supreme Court on how to restructure it because apparently they need help. It seems that they need help. So I just thought I'd give them a little bit. One of the things that I have in my court filing, besides points of authority, is right here. And I write under points of authority, a true and hidden purpose of family court, as observed across countless patterns, is to fracture the natural bond between living fathers, mothers, sons, and daughters, harvesting emotions, financial, and spiritual energy through engineered conflict under the false pretense of justice, while maintaining control over the next generation's identity, compliance, and dependence, enslavement into the system. It is unthinkable and a trespass of the Most High to stay compliant by all that do. That would be attorneys and judges. Is willful choice of enslavement and deception. So they're part of a deception. So, but I like to always give alternatives because that's an honor, right? So the higher original purpose of family courts could fulfill if realigned with source, that would be Creator God, is to safeguard the sacred bonds within the living, the alive families, the moms, the dads, the sons, the daughters, uphold natural law and mutual dignity, swiftly heal fractures without exploitation, and ensure that love, sovereignty, effective communication, pass to heal trauma, encourage the best interest of the living sons and daughters, are honored above all external claims. Uphold loving, compassionate, kind, safe, and reunite the family bonds and remove the states from the matrimony. The states were never supposed to be in there. So that's why it's equity. So you see what I have with my ex is we got married. And so if you're not aware of this, maybe you are. So private agreements hold a higher superior over because the number one element of contract law is like kind. So mankind can contract with mankind in the private. You see that with private agreements like the Bar Association, country clubs, all those little private Knights of Columbus, this private, that private organization and setups, depending on how they are and how they're structured, can be extremely private, executive level clearance, and only chancery equity is my understanding. But this is not legal advice because I'm just a mom who does contracts, did contracts. So anyway, in my filings, pro se, see there's pro se. I always circle that, and then I do a motion that says reject clerical error because I'm not pro se, because that's an entity. So if you look up person, individual, live birth is definitely one you want to look up. Lots of reasons for that one. But so I literally have the judge admit that I'm not a product extracted from the mother as defined in live birth. In the Illinois State Constitution, if you want to look it up, it's 410 ILCS 535/12. Live birth is a product extracted from the mother. It goes on to a little bit more disgusting stuff. Anyway, so I'm not pro se. That's an error. And I do rebut it. I rebut it all the time. Yet they keep doing it. And not only that, the attorney for the ex keeps filing, motion to dismiss pro se's motion. I think she just does it to play the game. She's really good at it. And yet she hasn't rebutted anything, not an affidavit, not these motions that I do, nothing. I mean, she's really slacking on her job. Anyway, her name's Kristen. You can look it up because I can give you the case number. Anyway, so I did a notice of presentment. I don't do notice of filing because I'm not filing. I'm presenting because I'm present, because I'm live. And I have all kinds of fun stuff. One of the fun things that I have is right up here. And see, when they stamp it, they stamp under here. They stand under me. I didn't even intend that. It was like a download I got. But boy, was that fun. So in this is an emergency. So what's been happening? I'll just give you a summary of why I'm coming live. Because the injustice is just, it's out of control. And we really need to take back our power. And so some of the things, just a few things, in the clerk's office, for instance, there's lots of inconsistencies. And apparently, who knew? A clerk of the court makes rules and policies. And they don't have to be written either. Amazing. I never knew the clerk had that much authority. That's amazing to me. And according to the chief judge's assistant, the chief judge is not over the clerk. But then when I questioned her more, she said she wasn't sure. But at first she did. So question people. Now, I will tell you, the clerk of the court's supervisor does not like me to ask questions and told me that. And I do have some of that on recordings, by the way. Also, the clerk of the court has refused lawful tender. So I have a private bond on file that's not rebutted, like 5 or 6 times I've put it. So a lawful tender of the private bond with numerous motions to move to equity. And why would I move that to equity? Well, remember when I said the private agreement, like kind, mankind can contract with mankind, entity with entity. If you're contracting with the government or a company, you're acting under your name, under an entity or authorized representative of the name of whatever your name is. So Kathleen Acker. So I'm not contracting. I contracted in the private. I was married under God. And so it was the ex by agreement with witnesses. And then when we did our divorce agreement, it was a private agreement between the man and a woman. So see, the thing is about that in contract law, it's by and between, and it's by and between these two souls, okay? Like kind, okay? And so it was filed in Chancery Court in Mississippi, and it was never properly transferred. And when it was properly transferred, you know, there's all these attorneys, and like they know or should know that it stays in Chancery and equity, but they all are a member of a group. I wonder if that's a conflict of interest. Anyway, so it was filed incorrectly and wrong. And no, UCC, JEC, I think it's JEC. It's in my filing. Maybe it's a JEA. Might be a JEA. I have it in here. Anyway, I gotta look this stuff up because I'm no attorney. So I'm just trying to, you know, it was in equity, and equity was the jurisdiction. Oh, dang it. It's even in the agreement, the private agreement. My ex is an attorney. So, I mean, he should probably know that more than me. Anyway, once in equity, always equity. Once in equity, always equity. Equity will not suffer a wrong without remedy. I think someone's due a little remedy. Equity looks to the intent. So did they intend to file it in the wrong jurisdiction of statutory, which I'm not an employee of the state. And I constantly say that I reside in my body and not in the state. So it looks to the intent rather than the form. The intent. I'd like to know what the intent was. It seems pretty clear that fraud is one of the intents and deception. So in this emergency, what's happened with the clerk is, so they denied lawful tender of the bond. So I offered silver coin because according to the Constitution, Article 1, Section 10, Clause 1, 111. So I don't know how you spell one. You could spell it O-N-E or W-O-N. All I know is I've won. Okay, so I have it open to Section 10. No state, not some states, no state shall enter into, and then it goes on to say, make anything, capitalized T, but gold and silver, capitalized C, coin, a tender, capitalized T, in payment, capitalized P, of debts. Capitalized letters mean something in legalese. So that's why I'm saying that the capital, and so those should be defined somewhere. And in contract law, when you define something, which is what I do in my contracts, then you want to go, you know that it's defined because it's a capital letter. So wait a minute. So that says no state can make anything lawful tender except silver and gold. So I offer silver coin and it was refused per policy. And so I did what I think anybody would do. I didn't ask for a copy of the policy because it goes against the Constitution. So that's a policy I'd like to see. And I think that's on behalf of all of us, right? We'd all like to see that policy. I mean, if there's a violation of the Constitution that conflicts, which one rules? Interesting. Anyway, I'm looking at the time. I don't want this to be too long. So they refused lawful tender, and then it was forced. So it was forced under duress and coercion and extortion to pay with fiat money. But the interesting thing is that when I did ask the supervisor in the clerk's office in Madison County, Illinois, she said that her boss makes the rules and that they're not written, yet they're inconsistent. So there's something on record, and she refuses to give me a copy unless I pay. And she said, we mailed it to you. And I said, well, I don't have a copy yet, and I'm face to face. And the thing is about consistency, because it's kind of, I think, important. Before, they've always given it to me, always. So are they treating me differently? Or is there a new rule? She says it's a new rule, but it's not written. That seems odd. Anyway, is that rule just for me? I don't know. I mean, that would be like really not good. Then there's judge swapping. So judge swapping, real quick. Okay, so judge swapping. So Janet is the judge. And then February 11th of 2025, they change it to Martin. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, not on the record, Janet gives an order in April. That's interesting because there's nothing on the record that changed it from Martin back to Janet. But when I asked the supervisor in the clerk's office, she said they do it all the time. It's judge shopping or swapping or something like that. And it just happens all the time. And it's perfectly fine. I mean, it's something that's done all the time. Because what attorney is going to call that out? I was like, wow, I didn't know that was like legal. I mean, I don't know. I'm just trying to get back to equity. I'm just trying to maneuver the ship back to equity and get off the ship and onto land and fly. Anyway, so then in May, they switch it back to Martin. So Martin's documented, but Janet's not. I find that kind of interesting that they can judge swap like that. Anyway, it seems like there's a lot going on here. And I do have the clean hands doctrine invoked. So clean hands, you gotta want to come with clean hands, right? It's in the Bible, biblical. And so I don't know if they take an oath to that because I'm not privy to that oath. But it seems like something that they would want to take an oath to, right? The clean hands doctrine. I think it has to do with being an honor. Something that you would want them to be. And I mean, if they're a judge and an attorney, and we think that their purpose is to help us, right? Help all of us, because we're all shareholders of mankind, whatever your role, that's a lower role. So there's mankind, and we're all equal. It says that in the Declaration of Independence of the year in the United States. And it says it in the Bible, right? So we're all mankind. Not a certain color, not a color of hair, not a color of eyes. All of us are equal. That's kind of important, don't you think? And so if we're all equal and then you take a title, then you would be consenting to be a servant, which would make you down here. So your first shareholders are mankind and your second shareholders are anybody else. So if you're doing things as a leader, government, judge, whatever, and you're doing it for the shareholders that are entitled, you might not be in honor of your original shareholders and your original duty. I'm just saying, again, I'm not an attorney, so I don't know. But the thing here is you have a voice and you have power. And we do not have to continue to hand over our power to another just because they hold a title. Now, I know it's scary. Trust me. I get really nervous when I go in. My voice shakes and stuff like that. But that's the humble part. That's being a living soul. And the reason to bring this up is there's a lot of injustice that's going on. This is just a summary. If you want my case number and you want to look it up, I'm happy to share that with you. It's 12F as in Frank or family 263. Go for it. I love my filings and I think you might find them interesting as well. Now it's been a learning process. So did I make mistakes? You know, the best thing about life is every problem has a soul. You shun. Shun, Tion, is energy in motion. So soul, you, energy. So just find the energy and heal your soul and find the solution because every problem has a solution. So I am Kathleen Nacker with the Game of Life. Roll the dice, have some fun. And until next time, hopefully some of this helped you realize you can stand up. Maybe my filings will help. I'm going to do a whole series on all of them. Anyway, I am heading over to appellate court from the lower court and we'll see what comes. Oh, yeah, there might be a filing to the Supreme Court for this minor infraction of the clerk. We'll see.